This has been our home for over 7 years. We've done a lot to make it our home, inside and outside. We're going to give you a tour and let you know all about what we've done. Things are changing. Let's go down that road. Hello, faithful people. I'm Orlene.
I'm Gary.
And Gary's doing what he always does every fall, and that is polishing up the RV for the winter. What do you use?
Well, new finish polish on our vintage RV.
The once-a-year car polish. Best-selling car polish. Alrighty.
So it says.
Yes. For 2000, she's looking pretty good. In this video, I'm going to show you what we've done to her inside and out. We have a lot of videos over the years of what we've done, but this is all going to be in one quick video, inside and outside, all the things we've done to make her our home. Let's start with the outside. This is all that's left telling what it is. It's a Jayco Eagle fifth wheel. And she's kind of dirty right now. Haven't had a chance to do much to her since we've been back from Houston, Texas, where I had my surgery for endometrial carcinoma back in May. It's been a constant number of events happening since we've gotten back. We'll tell you more about that later. Let's just focus on this for now. As you can see, we added the shutters. We took off all but this one stripe. There were 5 stripes. There was a turquoise and another color blue and burgundy and a gold stripes that went across the whole thing. And then there was also these big splashy things that went on, decals. Took those all off, painted the bays red and green, and then added the shutters. The shutters have held up really well. It even got hit by hail and it seemed to bounce right off the parts that were painted. We haven't done anything yet this fall, but every year this is repainted with black Rust-Oleum paint, and so is the black trim down there. And every year the steps are also redone. So every year for 7 years we've been redoing all of that with black Rust-Oleum. The white was done last fall, and that was all repainted. We were in Corpus Christi over the winter, so it got a little rust on it, and we haven't had a chance to do anything with that. We did add these, which are much shinier when they're clean, but that's like I said, she hasn't had a bath or anything in quite a while. But those are just plastic, a hard plastic, and they really look nice when they're shiny and clean. I have other pictures of it when it's all done. This is the side that you enter. We painted our door red. Have had a lot of comments on that. This little thing up here is just held on with command strips, and that holds a wreath at Christmas time. It holds a white Texan star that we have up a lot of times too. The bays are not real big, but they do hold a lot of stuff. And I'm going to show you all the storage on the inside as well. The other thing that Gary did was he reinforced some of these things with a Bondex that really helped to hold them in place over the years. That saved us a ton of money. We also did caulking every year. Sometimes not the whole thing every year, but parts of it. And what we discovered was that if you go over it with white paint, it doesn't turn black. I didn't do it all the way around, but a lot of times it'll turn black just from traffic and things like that. And when all the parts where I painted it white, it stayed pretty white. The back window cover had a big Jayco on it as well, and we took that all off. We had to sand it down. It's some kind of a fiberglass, and we sanded it down and painted it a couple of different times over the years. It's held up really well. And then we also replaced the tire cover. Gary did some patches of things like this with a tape that goes over, and that has been very good for sealing things. And then I went over that with white paint to keep it white. I guess it still says Jayco on it.
Yeah.
Okay. The tires were replaced about every 10,000 miles, Gary said.
Yeah.
And so we've just have been very, very fortunate that in 7 years we never once had a blowout or anything like that on any of our tires, not even a flat.
Well, we had one that was leaking really badly.
That's right. We had one that we had a big leak in, and that was when we hit a staple. But we were parked at the time, and it was a very convenient place to be parked, very close to Discount Tire. So they came over and helped replace it. Awesome people. I'm going to take you through everything we've done on the inside. I'm not going to show myself very much. I still don't know what's going on underneath my eyes. I have tried everything. I'm going to do a separate video on that. I don't know if it's still because of the surgery. It's been 4 months. Or if it's because of the radiation. It's been over 3 months for that. I don't know what's going on. But I'm not going to show myself a whole lot. It is so dry and itchy and red and miserable. So let's just focus on the RV. I think it was one of the very first things we did was this door. This door was the same color as this. And it made the room really dark. And of course, when you're in an RV and you're in a small space, and this, as you see, we do not have a slide out. So we needed as much as we could get for lighting things up. And that was the first thing we did, I believe, was to paint that. Then the other thing is we took down the poofy valances, all the stupid poofy valances that they make in RVs. And we took those down, and Gary built these wood ones that could be wiped down. It just made it so much cleaner and nicer looking to have it that way. So that was wonderful. That was another big addition. Then I made these insulated drapes. I just bought insulated panels from Walmart, and then I made them to fit each window. So when it's cold out, and we have had cold times when we've needed the extra insulation. Right now we still have plastic on it from last fall during a cold spell. And it helped to keep it cooler in here in the summer too, so we just left it on. And it should be good yet for this winter too. This just comes down with little clips that hook on things up above here. Just little hooky things. And it unhooks and then it falls down. And it goes all the way down the full length of the window. Those all had a frosted design on them. We thought it was part of the glass, and it turned out it was just a decal, and they peeled right off. A little bit of heat from a hair dryer and just hardly any scraping at all, and it took them right off. But it looked like etched glass, and it was kind of an old design, and so we took that all off and cleaned that up. We also replaced all the handles. They were an old kind of gold looking, and we replaced them with the oil rub bronze. We did the same with all the hardware. We replaced all the hardware with oil rub bronze. We're in the process of cleaning things out. And one of the things we did is the refrigerator. The refrigerator was replaced in 2019. It runs on propane or electric. So it's really nice when you are boondocking. You don't have to be plugged into anything. You don't need even solar or anything like that either. It'll run off the battery, and so it's been a pretty good refrigerator. But it came with a foil front. You had to pay extra to get something on it to replace this part here. It was $200 for a piece of black plastic. We had done everything we could to lighten this place up. I really didn't want to make it darker. So we found this. For $20, we got a sheet of the beadboard at Home Depot or Lowe's or someplace, and then cut it to fit. This kind of a refrigerator does require that you have to defrost it from time to time, which we've always done pretty regularly. I would say about every 3 to 6 months, depending on where we are and how much frost builds up on the freezer. It's been cleaned out. As you can see, it's not a huge refrigerator. We're keeping the doors open as long as it's sitting stationary. We can do that. Our only complaint about this refrigerator is that back here, this little tiny hole, whenever it defrosts from above, it drips down into this tray. And ideally, it's supposed to have all that moisture run down and go down through that hole and be gone. But that's not what happens. It freezes up and you get ice dams. And we've had to clean that off almost, I would say several times a week. We have to clean that off to get it out of there. That has been a very big complaint of ours about this refrigerator. We called the company. They said there was nothing they could do about it. So we've lived with it for the past 6 years. But it's a good refrigerator. It keeps things really cold, and the freezer works really well too. The microwave works. We've never used it. It was always used for, which are still in here because I haven't cleaned them out yet. We've used it for pots and pans and cutting boards and things like that. That's all we've ever used it for. And then this is what covers the sink, one half of the sink, so you can have a bigger counter space, which I hardly ever use that either. Another thing that we did almost right away was take out the carpet. The carpeting in here for our big 5x7 living room was very dirty. And then there was a Congolium type vinyl flooring that went that way. Floor was flush, so we didn't have to do any underlayment or anything like that with it. It's a click and lock plank flooring. We have videos on that, how we did that. It has held up really well. It's been a great floor. Only one issue was right here. We were gone for a couple of weeks. We had to leave for a family emergency. It was in Texas at the time. It was not plugged into anything. They had a big hot spell at that time, and when we came back, this was split. It's not split in the board, it's split between two boards, and we've never been able to fix that. It's supposed to be like, maybe we've tried putting a caulk in there, just a solid bead of white caulking, but it didn't stay. It didn't last. So you may have other solutions for that. We've never even talked about it. It's just something we just lived with. Another thing that was done was we replaced the regular vent where you just open it up and then the air just goes in or out. There's nothing sucking it in or sucking it out. We replaced them with these vortex fans. They are not the Max fan or some of the other well-known brands. It's just a fan that, a knockoff of that, but it's worked really well. When you're cooking or whatever, and you can just turn that on the out so that all the air goes out. When it's really hot, you can have it go out if you don't have air conditioning at the time, or accessibility to air conditioning at the time. You can just open it up and it goes out. If you want a cool breeze to come in, you can just reverse it and have it come down. We did it in the kitchen, the bathroom, and the bedroom. Another one of the first things we did was remove this wallpaper border that went around in here. It was burgundy and gold, and it just went all the way around in here and in the bathroom. There were curtains that hung here that covered up a lot of the window. We wanted as much window showing as possible to let as much light in as possible. So that was another big change we did. And then, like I said, we built these and added the insulated curtains. You may have noticed that this table does not have the the leg that comes down into the center of the floor. When we redid the floor, we covered that up, filled it in, and covered it up so I could have a movable table. That was very important to me because it's very hard to get up here sometimes when the table's in the way, or to clean back in there. It was really hard with the table not being able to be moved. So all you have to do when you're parked is just unhook these, and they come right off of here. And then you can move the table any way you need to. You can move it out, way out into the kitchen part here, and you can have plenty of room to clean in there and whatever. So that was a wonderful addition. We were really glad we did that. And Gary just did the board across there to stabilize and keep it, and he's got felt pads so it doesn't get chipped up or anything. These little legs are from Texas. They're from a flea market in Texas. They were off of an old Texan porch somewhere. We used 3 of them for this. Gary made the back 2 legs, and then the other one was used for the desk that we made. I'm going to tell you about that next. When we had a travel trailer, we found out that the cushions, the seat cushions particularly, not the back so much, but the seat, would wear out very fast. And they, at the time that I started pricing them out, it would have been about $50 to replace each cushion. I kept thinking it'd be nice to have something that'd be more like table height, not sinking down so deep. And so we were looking kind of for what we could do on that. Well, one day we were out in this one area. This is when we were serving a vacancy in Vacaville, California. And there was a futon that somebody had dumped in this one area where we would walk a lot. And so here's the wood. This is what we used. This keeps it from sliding around, the cushion. But this is what we used. This is part of the futon. It was a gorgeous futon. We didn't have a need for a futon, but we needed the wood. So that's what this is made out of. And then Gary made this frame for the bottom part of it. It never comes off of here. It stays in place. It's never been a problem. But things that are on here might slip off. So you have to reinforce those. This was the back, part of the back of that futon. And then this was the arm of the futon. It has worked really well. Before I show you the desk, all of these lights were replaced with LED lights. So you can be on 12 volt, just battery power for quite a while because they drain hardly any energy at all. And they're nice bright lights. We replaced all of the lights in the unit. This used to be a cabinet, and it held so much stuff. And I was just being a collector of stuff, and I wanted to not do that, and I wanted to get rid of it, and I wanted extra seating. So we got this bench. I think it was at Aldi's for $10. It's bamboo. And then I made the cushion cover, and I made the little curtain for it. It also has more storage in here yet. It's cavernous storage. You would not believe how much I had in here. I had CDs, DVDs. I had lots of maps in there. I had my journals in there for each of the year that we were traveling. I had just, oh gosh, there was so much of pictures, all kinds of things. Christmas cards every year. I'd stuff them in there after Christmas, and then I'd put them in a, later I'd go through them again and then get rid of a lot of things. So yeah, that, and then this, so it held a lot. This is one more leg of the set. There were 4 of them, and I had Gary just cut them in half, and they went on the front part of what was already there. The shelf on top here used to go straight across this way, and it was like a V, like a triangle shape, and we just changed the shape of it so it went straight across, and then that way we could slide the stool in there. And it's been really nice having that little extra seat. We've had grandchildren that have come in here and have done their homework at this desk. This is next to the desk, And we used that bottom part there for our books. It was like our little libraries in there. But you could use it to store shoes or any other thing like that too. It cannot be removed. It's part of the wheel well, so you have to keep it. Sorry. We often thought it might be a kind of a cute place to take this part off and reinforce this somehow, this part here, and put a little electric fireplace in there. You could easily do that. There's an outlet right above and a window, so that would work. We just never did it. Whenever we travel, we just put this little extension rod around the legs here, just between them, to keep it from sliding out and traveling all across the floor. A lot of our little things, our son wrote some books that have gnomes in them, and so that's a little gnome house for him. But everything is held up with command strips all these years. Nothing has budged them. It's been great. About this little greenery up here. That's a plate that belonged to my grandma. So that pretty much takes care of the kitchen. One more thing. This. Gary gave me this. Let me turn a light on. Gary gave me this before we moved into the RV, before we even found an RV. I think it was even before we were looking for one, and before I even came up with the name Roads of Faith. Is that not a sign or what? Have faith in untraveled roads. Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Matthew 21:22. This was our couch. It's a jackknife sofa, so you have extra sleeping if you want. It comes out to right here when it's open. So it's about a double size bed when it's open. We only had a couple people stay overnight in here in the 7 years. One was my brother, and the other was a grandson. And they both slept on the couch just as it was. They didn't want it opened up. They didn't want to do any of that. They just left it the way it was. That's how they were happy with that. So it's a very, very comfortable. Gary reinforced it shortly after we moved in, because on the front of this is why we covered it. I'm really not crazy about that print. It had a matching panel that went across that whole part there. And your furnace is under here. So when the furnace runs, you want to have good airflow. And we didn't feel that we wanted to keep flipping that thing up to get the airflow into the furnace. So Gary just reinforced all of this, built this frame, which made this firmer. And it really held up well. And then if we're going to be running the furnace, we just kind of flip up the sheet just a little bit in front of it so the airflow is there. Otherwise, it's just great. I changed out the pillows for each season because you can't rearrange any furniture in here. So I would just redo those. And I did some videos on that too. This is our summer look. It is October. I have not had time to do much of anything in here since we've moved. Yeah, more on that in a minute. This is another thing that we did, was this frame. There was a picture up there of a bird or something. We took that out. And all of our family pictures were put on here. And some of them I had stuck in here too. Just kind of stuck in the little frame. So this whole thing was pictures. And that was pictures, family pictures. My dad made the frame, and Gary painted it black to go with the oil rub bronze. Yep. Behind the one dinette seat, this is storage. And what we did, it was so hard to get in there because the hole was only this big. Came from here to here. And trying to get anything in there or out of there was ridiculous. So Gary made it bigger. And now we had a better access to things in there. This is something you will not find in most RVs, is a coat closet. You could hang them on the hooks. We had storage up above. Gary built these 2 shelves in here. We had room to put a little broom in here. Just had 2 plastic shoebox bins on the shelves with different things like command strips and felt and just things that you need, little stuff like that for the RV. Most of the decor that you see in here has been reinforced with command strips and they've stayed in place. Even with the bouncy, crazy roads we go down sometimes, that would always stay in place. The same with things on the walls. The other thing we did is we updated the carbon monoxide alarm and the smoke detectors on the ceiling and the propane alarm. That's all been replaced. This step was made from an old cupboard. And the guy that helped us put the flooring in made the step for us. I always thought it would be great if it had had like a piano hinge across here or something and then lift it up and put shoes in it. Never did that. Piano hinges are not cheap. But you could just move it around or something and put stuff there if you wanted to. Pardon the dirt. We have been focusing so much on our new place that we have not cleaned the RV yet. I feel really embarrassed about this. This was because there is water pipes and things like that underneath here. In the winter time, when it gets cold, and we've been, even in the south, we've been in some places that have gotten pretty cold, we would run a small fan going this way so that the heat would go underneath this part of the RV where there's a bay, and that's where some of the pipes are for the tub. Something else we did is we took off the vinyl door that was on here. There was a vinyl door that went all the way across. It was never used by the previous owners either, and it was just silly, and it was taking up space. And there was a bar that came across here, and you would always nick your foot on it because the floor is lower than the floor of the tub. So when you're stepping up into the tub or stepping down out of the tub, you would often catch your foot on that. So we took that out. Put these on the corners to help keep water from coming out. And it was this shower, we never replaced this. We did once. We replaced it with a water saver and it didn't save water. And we ran out of hot water for the first time. Yeah, we ran out of water in the flush tank. We ran out of hot water in the hot water heater when we switched to a different one. So we put this one back on. You will want this. And it will pause. And it will help you so that you can take military showers, get all wet, and then shut it off on here instead of on the faucet, and then get all lathered up or whatever, and then turn it back on and rinse off. We now have one in our new place as well. This bar we put in here so that we could hang these kind of hooks on it to hang like washcloths or whatever to dry out, stuff like that. The beadboard that we used on the refrigerator door, we used the rest of it in here to make a wainscoting around this outside. I really liked that addition. When we got the new toilet, it was taller than the old one. So this door did not open out anymore. So Gary just changed where the hinges are and put them on the bottom so you can open it from the bottom. Otherwise, we really didn't do a whole lot more in here. These command hooks have held for 7 years. This one never came off. Another vortex fan. Add some decor with command strips. Changed out the hardware in here as well. We spray painted the hinges. That saved a little money. This medicine cabinet is cavernous. You will not find something like this in a newer RV. Oh my gosh, all of our skincare and hair care and stuff like that went in here, and plus your other toiletries, and then you have your medicine stuff up here. I had little clear plastic things that went across here that they all fit in so you could see the labels and everything. And then this spongy stuff keeps things from moving during travel. But this has been wonderful. We do not have this in our new place, and I'm really missing it. And the last room to show you is the bedroom. The things we've done up here, and to show you how small it was, but yet how much storage we had. All right. Some things have been moved out, obviously. Up there, it held rolled up jeans or t-shirts or whatever, things that could be foldable. This is not a full length thing, but it is longer than some RVs have. But I couldn't hang like a dress in there. I had to fold it over on the hanger to have it hang in there. But that was my side, and that was Gary's side. If he had a sport coat with him for church and stuff like that, it would touch the floor. So he got rid of those. He didn't have any sport coats. He just wore shirt and tie when he was preaching. These he made as like he did the other ones, but the difference on this one is that it has a little bit of a lip on it so that we could roll up things on here. We would roll up our shorts and put those on there. Yoga pants, athletic pants, whatever, things like that would fit up on top of that. I told our grandkids we slept in our closet, in our walk-in closet. This is what we added to these little things here. One would hold like underwear, socks, pajamas, stuff like that. That was a good addition. And we have one on each side. I had something up here that hung for a long, long, long time. It was from IKEA, I think, and it was a command strip thing, and it would hold. It has like rings. That's a scarf holder, and it has like I think 9 or 12 circles on it, and you hang it from there, and that's where I hung up my scarves. Was on that. Above the bed. That held our one extra set of sheets and some extra sheets in case someone would stay with us. Oh, and it would keep the summer bedspread up there, and then the winter bedspread would go up there when in the summertime. So that all went up in those compartments up there. These are room darkening shades. They do not roll up. They just stay down all the time, but they really block out the sun really well. This is an old TV stand. It goes up like this and locks into place, and that's where we would put our little circulating a little fan on there for white noise and to keep air moving in here, because at night we didn't want to have this uncovered. If we were trying to sleep and we're boondocking someplace and there's a big bright light above us, we wanted to block that out. So we just covered it up with the foam. We replaced the original foam, the original mattress that came with the RV, which was very old at the time. It was 17 years old at the time. Replaced it with a foam mattress. And then we put another 3-inch on top of that, just because that's what we had on the old mattress until we got this, and then we just decided to make it even thicker and just add that onto it. It really wasn't necessary. Very comfortable bed. We've had it for about 5 years. This is under the bed. The bed lifts up and you have all this storage. We kept the bounce sheets are in here. We have to refresh them and get some new ones in here before we store it, but this is bounce sheets really help to keep mice out, and we haven't had any mice in all the years we've been in here. I think we had one in here in all the years we were in this. We kept the plastic on the carpet just to protect it. It goes very deep up in there yet, and we would keep our winter clothes packed in suitcases underneath here so that if we had to make an emergency trip home or something like that. And there were areas that we were in the wintertime that it would get cold. We would have a place to store all of that. We kept things like decorations, seasonal decorations. We kept our little fireproof safe under here. Just a variety of things went underneath this bed. A lot of people wanted to know where we stored our shoes. I have seen some people that have a bigger box here, and they will hang things with pockets in them with shoes in it. This is not deep enough for that. So what we did is we put our shoes in gallon bags, and they went all the way around this way and along that part there, because this, when it came down, had enough of an overhang to about here. So we could hide our shoes all along in there, in those bags. And I think this is the last of all the things we've done that I can think of right now offhand. There was a door here. Next to this brown door, there was another brown door, and then there was the nice light colored walls. And it was like every time it opened out this way, and every time you went through this narrow hallway, you'd hit your hip on the doorknob. That came off. The purpose for it was so that you could close it this way, and you could close the bathroom door so it would latch up there. That latch broke a long time ago. So you could latch that door, and then you'd have one continuous bathroom experience here from the shower to the bathroom. That's what we think it was for. We didn't need it. Well, everything is cleaned out. Everything. And this is why we had these little dressers right here, so we couldn't walk around the bed. But we needed those. There's just not a lot you can fit into that if you're full-time. Hello, Faith. We are back, but we're going to be taking you somewhere else. She's been here about a month at a friend's business, but he sold the business, and now we needed to move her. So we're taking her to storage today, not too far from here. She'll still be in the town where we are. Yeah. We have a lot that's happened since this video started. We pretty much moved everything out. All the family pictures are gone to the apartment. Yeah, an apartment. It's just pretty much everything. We haven't, there's a couple of things we haven't taken down yet. I didn't take down that Faith plaque because I can't get it off. Those command strips really stuck. I'm going to have to figure that out later. Yep. Looks so empty. Smells really good in here though. I closed the refrigerator door now for moving. We put original scent bounce sheets everywhere throughout here. Made sure the cupboards didn't have any crumbs or anything in them from the food that we stored up there. Yeah. Shouldn't be anything that they would go after in here. Debating on taking these pillows with me to the apartment. Gary's loading things up to make sure everything is ready to be moved. I'm just checking the inside here to make sure nothing's going to move while we're going. This is always make sure this was shut every time we moved. Bam. We covered our mattress with this tarp just to protect it from dust and whatever. So much more room in here without the little dressers that we had in the corner here. Yeah, all right. Lots of bounce sheets. Lots of bounce sheets. I can't believe this was our home for 7 years. Funny thing, for 7 years, Gary sat on this side of the dinette. This is supposed to go up. He sat on this side of the dinette, and he always had one leg out outside. So when I was cooking in the kitchen and I needed to get something out of one of the drawers, he always had to move. The Berkey sat here. If I had to get water for cooking, he was right here in the way. Why didn't we switch and have me on this side and him on this side? I don't know. We put up with it for 7 years. Love you.
Love you too.
This could be the last time we tow her. Last thing Gary's doing is taking the batteries out, and we'll store them at our new home. Bye, Faith.
See you soon.
Huh. She won't be alone. We have one more thing we'll be doing when it's drier. We have a cover to put on her, and then she'll be protected better.
Want to get it dried off as much as we can before we put the cover over it. I have to put some tape on any sharp edges and things like that to keep from tearing the tarp, and then tie it down for the winter.